Welcome to another episode of the Top Corner Podcast. And today is Monday. Yeah. And we got a good show for you. Today's co-host is Julian. You should know his name by now.
You should. Yeah. I hope so.
I think so.
I might not have as much charisma as the guy next to me. He is buzzing with charisma right now opening this water bottle.
Man. I didn't know that.
So
how you doing today, man?
Good, very good. Not because the wife is out of town on a business trip, but
she is?
But she is. Yeah, she's out for 3 days or so. So I'm gonna be eaten alive by a cat and a dog. In my sleep, more than likely. There's a Stephen King horror story in there somewhere, guys. So if I'm not back next week, we'll have a replacement. But you'll know that I'm just a bag of bones that's been eaten up by a pug and a little cat.
I mean, Madrid is still pursuing, or at least will still try to pursue Alphonso Davies and Mbappe. So that's what, 2 for the price of 1?
Yeah, well, and the price tag on Davies wasn't that bad, was it? What didn't they want, like 40 or 50? It was relatively reasonable. I thought that they could have gotten more out of him.
Yeah, according to this report, Madrid and Davies, Davies' representatives have had positive conversation about a move, and if the Canadian international does not extend his deal at Bayern, Real will want to pay a normal fee, because at this point he will not be on the contract.
Yeah.
So there's probably more leverage from Real Madrid side, and it will be significantly lower than the 70 million, that has been circulated in a lot of rumors. Will be like, oh, they might want to pay 70 million, but Madrid is not willing to pay crazy money like that. They're just willing to take him at the current value or the current value market.
Yeah.
At what he's worth.
Do you think that Davies could be worth 70?
He could be, but depending on circumstances. Like if you are locked in a contract with an excessive release clause,
sure,
then that's different. Then if you have to renew your contract, you might be good too, but you playing at Bayern, they might be like, they probably don't have the money, or they figure they have a good youth that could replace you at the position per se.
Well, because he doesn't have that much left on his contract, does he? Or
no, summer his contract is on. It's up by summer.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds
because
like a good deal.
it will be a situation where he will be significantly higher in price tag.
Yeah.
But if Bayern is not willing to pay that or what he's worth, and he will have to renew his contract at Bayern with whatever Bayern is willing to pay, or B, Madrid is willing to pay whatever they're willing to pay to get him, because at Bayern his contract is not that crazy. Because those are one of those two things. Not that he's not worth it. It's just that the circumstances, whatever.
And that should be of no concern to the player. The player themselves shouldn't feel a certain way about how much they're purchased by a club or whatnot.
Yeah, I feel like at his situation, whatever way he goes, it will still be okay for him. Regardless of the money or the money transfer. So,
but yeah, I mean, it looks pretty certain that those two are inbound to Madrid.
Yeah.
So.
I can definitely go over. Well, let's do a recap of the Champions League. If you have watched the Champions League last week, we had some good games going on. I mean, we had a high level display of talent. I'm talking about my boy Mbappe. Mm-hmm. I like the guy. Mm-hmm. Paris Saint-Germain.
One might say you love the guy. You love him. You love him.
Not that way.
You love him. I'm kidding.
Not that way, but he's the guy, man.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, you figured it, right? The president of France is having a meeting with him. So who's the guy? He probably got some stocks in France as a whole, the whole country, They probably gave him a side of Paris Saint-Germain. Or they even sold the Eiffel Tower to him. We don't know that.
I could see him ending up like in his 40s and 50s as like an actual James Bond villain, or like the bad guy in Mission Impossible. Like, what happened to you, man? You were a professional athlete. You just became so corrupt. Why these nuclear launch codes? Why'd you need these launch codes?
I'm not. When people say he's cocky or whatever, I'm not mad at him. You know why? They create the cockiness.
That is true.
So if you create this whole thing,
Paris created this monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you expect him to act like? Of course, if he wants a kick, you better go.
Yeah. I will say this. Yes, Paris is more to blame than anybody else. I will also say that
the person itself.
Yeah, but maybe not even him personally. I would say it's like there are some players in the world that, if given the same opportunities and same things that he's been given, maybe wouldn't act the same way. Not that many. And and maybe they would still. It's obviously going to inflate your ego some.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I do think that he's somewhat to blame. But I mean, PSG doing what they did to make him feel the way that he did, like they were very open about the fact that like they were trying to almost make him not an owner, but like have as much say as the higher up guys. Like they were bragging about it.
Oh,
and the player should never have that kind of bargaining chip.
I remember all the memes like 2 or 3 years ago. Like Neymar was like they were training, and I think he did like a force touch or something. And you go down the comment, and people are like, "Man, Mbappe is gonna sit him down today on the bench."
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, you have the president of France, the president of Paris Saint-Germain, having a personal meeting with you.
Yeah.
Just because of you wanting to leave or not. That's insanity.
Yeah, I agree.
So you basically creating the monster, and you can't turn around and say, "Oh, I don't like how he acts." Well, you created that.
Yeah.
But in a sense, Paris Saint-Germain had a good game. He was very influential in the game.
Yeah.
He made the game. And if you did not watch it, go watch it. It was a pretty good game. I thought Sociedad could do more, but it also shows that they have a dip in form.
Yeah.
Because this game, Paris, they play so much better at Paris than this other game. So especially that they were playing at home. So I don't know what happened.
And they looked promising too in their group. They shared a group with Inter Milan.
Yeah.
Who did not look outstanding in the group stage, but they've shown very consistent form throughout both competitions this entire season. Yeah, I mean that was an unfortunate drop in form over 2 legs. But ultimately, it would be silly to think that Sociedad is the better side in terms of talent than PSG. But before the 2-match tie really went underway, you and I talked about it as well. You know, Sociedad was not completely without the ability to steal it away from PSG. They're one of those teams that you looked at that matchup in particular, and you think PSG is obviously the favorite, but don't count out Sociedad. But unfortunately, it ended up becoming what you kind of expected it to be.
Another
overall.
thing with Paris gotta watch out, right? Because every time they are leading, it looks like they let lose, and
they 100% do. Yes.
Yeah, they stop doing because for Sociedad to score, if they had put in the pressure in the second half like they did in the first half, they probably would have ended the game with a much higher score than 2. And Sociedad would not have been playing the way they played, because they started playing lazy touches, just lazy all around, all of them. So it's unfortunate. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, and this competition is not the one I think that PSG get to take it easy in the back, because in the group stage they fielded 9 goals, but they allowed 8.
Yeah.
And you cannot do that the further along that you get in this competition. 4-1 on aggregate against Sociedad is one thing. But that goal is going to come back to bite you, and like this is not. I'm sorry, this is not the French league where they've conceded 21 goals, which is good overall. But they can't pretend that the level of competition is the same, and they cannot switch off at the back. That's going to be what kills them. And Marquinhos wasn't there in the back either, and they need him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Kimpembe was either, was he? Did he play in that second leg?
Kimpembe?
I don't remember seeing him on that starting lineup. I could be talking out of my anus.
But unfortunately for Sociedad, though,
he was not, by the way.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. But unfortunately for Sociedad, every time they get into a competition, they had been knocked out of the Europa League. I think 7 for the past 7 seasons, and they get in the Champions League, it's still the same thing, getting knocked out. But it's crazy though, because there's at least an improvement from Europa to Champions League.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And let's move on. This is interesting. Bayern Munich, Lazio. We talked about Munich not playing as Munich. We talked about Bayern not being assertive, not be aggressive. We talked about Bayern present form not be at the top.
Yeah.
But I think this past week they've been making a statement slowly against Lazio 3-0.
With
That's
two of those
crazy.
coming from Harry Kane, and
Yeah.
then he had a hat trick against Mainz in the domestic competition yesterday, or was it Saturday? I mean, they've had a 2-game turnaround in their form. They did not look as sprightly previously. Pretty sloppy at the back. They've definitely turned it around. Again, though, Lazio in this round of 16 would be near the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
And Mainz obviously is 17th ranked in the German league. So I'm not trying to detract that they're having good form, but they are not doing it against top level opponents.
Yeah.
But this is how you build up steam to make way
You build up
for
confidence.
bigger things for sure. Yeah, it's still a big deal for them overall. And Kane is soaring. What is that? 5 goals in 2 games?
Yeah.
That's pretty outstanding regardless of who you're playing. So good on them for that.
Yeah, and Lazio also, they have a serious dip in form too.
Yes,
so,
they have.
It's kind of expected that Bayern Munich will be the better side.
That's the unfortunate thing really fast, just about how your last year's form is what dictates your eligibility for European competition.
Yeah.
You see that all the time, where you see it in reverse, like Liverpool, who are domestically soaring, absolutely spectacular in form, but because they were so poor last season, they're competing in the Europa League. Could you imagine them in this form right now competing in the Champions League instead of that Newcastle spot? And then this as well, where Lazio was in good form last year, they earned a Champions League position, and then to just not have that form anywhere near what it needs to be to compete convincingly, even in the domestic league as well. So yeah, it's unfortunate that you're tied to that after you get transfers and dips in form and people moving on and people coming in that aren't used to the system.
It makes a lot of difference.
Everyone's kind of a wild card in a certain way. Yeah.
City Copenhagen is expected 3-1. I mean, if you are City, you don't win that game, something's wrong with you. You have the best talent in the world at mostly every single position.
Yeah.
And you have Pep Guardiola itself, so you gotta win that game. So there's not a real astonishment from that. It's expected. So the reverse will be shocking.
Yeah, well, in 6-2 on aggregate, it does beg the question though, with City being the defending champions and still being most likely statistically to win again, conceding 2 goals against the clearest weak link of the round of 16. That is not a good thing, is it? Even though it's 1 goal a game in each leg, I get that, and goals do happen, but when does that 6-2 all of a sudden become 3-3 when you're playing a higher level team? Like,
yeah,
I don't think it's acceptable for a Manchester City to concede any goals against Copenhagen over 2 legs. That's just me.
Yeah,
because it's clearly the number 1 and clearly the last on the totem pole for the round of 16. I don't know.
I think probably because it's a small team, so it don't matter whatever you score. I'm still gonna win.
I get it.
Yeah,
but
so I think that's probably how you will probably look at it. But
yeah.
the one game that was really surprising, playing at Santiago Bernabeu, Madrid doing 1-1 with Leipzig, and if you're playing at Bernabeu, at Santiago, you gotta win, and it was really shocking and surprising. I think it was depending on the formation too, because when you watch the game, it seems like Carlo Ancelotti is one of the greatest coach, but sometimes he often tries stuff that I don't know, because formation was bad, and they have so much. I'm talking about, if you just count on paper and individually, they have the best talent currently, especially offensively, and you don't maximize on it, and you play the way you play, you should have won this game without doubt in anyone's mind. Make a statement. We are the champions of Spain, and we are potentially the champions of Europe. And it's Madrid, so I don't know.
Well, and he's had multiple opportunities now to test in La Liga.
Yeah.
The fact that Bellingham is not your number 9. He scores goals for you through the midfield because he doesn't give up on plays, and he slowly works his way up the pitch to an offensive position when nobody's really looking. That's why he doesn't give up on the play. He's constantly moving forward.
Yeah.
But he's had several games in the number 9 position against lower level opponents in the domestic league, and it doesn't work. Not everybody can play every position. You know what I mean? It's like saying that Cruz scores goals in the midfield. Well, just put him as a center forward because he's scoring goals. No. Like you put certain people in certain positions. Obviously, that's nothing new. You don't want Vinicius Jr. as a defensive midfielder because he's quick on the ball and can get a quick counter in. That's not how that works. So that is a curious thing for him. Yeah, I don't know if the 4-3-3 works for them in general, but Bellingham as number 9 most certainly does not work. Yeah. It takes away a lot of his attributes. And it's kind of a superficial placement because of the fact that he simply scores a lot of goals.
Yeah, I think so. I think Real was timid in this game. They were not aggressive, and they should have attacked more. They didn't attack more.
And also, Leipzig can't fucking shoot straight.
Yeah, there was
20 shots. 20 shots, 4 on target.
That's crazy.
Openda made a mess of several opportunities. It's like they're very good on the ball. They're very quick. They're very aggressive. They really run you down when they have the ball. But it feels like once they move inside the box, it doesn't matter because they can't get the ball in the back of the net.
What about the controversy though? Vinicius Jr. kind of choking. Orban and just receive a yellow card. A lot of people thought that should be a red card, especially how things are going.
Diego Costa's like, what? He gets to do that? What the fuck is that?
So it's like, what in the heck? So how they just allowed it to happen? And
that is strange. Yeah.
So a lot of people, thought it should have been a red card. Personally, the intention was there. I mean, every time you choke someone or planning or attempting to choke someone, there's intention because.
See, I'm actually. Go ahead.
It's not like pushing someone. The intention is there. So
see, so this is something that once you're into the sport, you see a lot of different curiosities here. As an American, I'm used to personal fouls in American football, where you're grabbing face masks and you're jerking them around by their neck. I've always thought it's kind of silly. No one actually chokes anybody in soccer. In football, they just put their hands on the neck.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. That's obviously a red card for Vinicius because they give red cards for that all the time. I don't think it's ever a red card. I think it's just a yellow. But the fact that they make it to where it's an automatic red, then yes, by definition, that should have been a red card. But they're not choking them. If someone does a hip toss, puts them on the ground and puts them in a rear naked choke, obviously get them out of the fucking game. But no one's actually strangling.
Yeah.
So I always think it should be just a flat yellow. Yeah. But if you're always giving that as a red, it's obvious that it should have been a red in that circumstance.
No, I'll personally give it as a red because there's clearly bad intention for that. You shouldn't put your hands on nobody. It's a sport. Unless we're here to fight. Now, if we're here to fight, it's a different thing. We can do that. And even in fighting, there's certain things you can't do. Because, if there's a real motivation behind that, it means you're here to do something evil. But if people, because Costa will choke you. Yeah. Ibrahimovic is known for choking. Like, he will actually grab your neck.
Right.
And if he gets a red card and this guy put 2 hands... people like
you can tell when someone doesn't put a lot of force though, like he just kind of so like and that's what you see a lot, and it's like because other people have actually choked people that once you just even touch somebody, it's a red. And so like I don't agree with that, but if you're gonna say that that's a red, be consistent all the way through. So it was obvious that he should have been a red card.
And also because of Vinicius Jr., if it had happened to him, he will have cried all over social media.
100%. Yeah.
So that's another thing. But
I'm starting to not like him that much.
A lot of people. But for me, I really separate the player from the character too. Because back in I used to like Ramos, and I forgot what I was telling this to. This is my aunt or someone that we need players like that. The reason because we need players like Ramos, Pep, Costa, Ibrahimovic. With those characters, it kind of, how will I say this? It kind of makes people want to watch just for the drama. Because anything, drama always sells. No matter however you do it, You know,
Yeah.
that's just the nature of human being. You like a little bit drama. You like that controversy. You like that when is these two players playing, it's gonna be war. Because some people actually come to watch that.
Yeah, for
some
sure.
people don't care about if you're the best on the pitch or you're technical, if you can not make. No, some people come for that. So I think this type of players always help in actually bringing fans to the sport.
Definitely, yeah.
So that's just my opinion. I always like when that you have dirty players. You gotta have dirty. You
do
gotta
have
have
to,
one person in your team that's dirty.
Yeah.
I'm talking about straight sneak tackling, punches sometimes. You gotta have a Ramos.
I agree.
It's just good.
It makes it more fun to watch.
Yeah, it makes it more fun to watch. Going to this weekend, we had the one of the greatest games in Premier League, in a sense, with two tactical, well-known managers. I'm talking about when they are on the pitch. It's not about the players on the team. It's not. It's more the match become more of a chess game.
Yeah.
And City Liverpool 1-1. What did you think? That was amazing.
That was a really
Liverpool
good match.
actually didn't. I felt like Liverpool played for Klopp because that second half, it looks like they turned something in them. They were mad on the field.
Yeah, well, and City kind of fall apart in the second half as well. They had several good opportunities and good pushes and momentum in that first half, and it was really cool seeing all three of the title contenders have to work really hard for the results that they got.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for some, and fortunate for others, Arsenal come out the best in that. They got all 3 points, and then the other two contenders had to split a point between them. But no, for the Arsenal guys, they're very pleased. For everyone else, they're like, well, that shook down in just a way that Arsenal get the most out of it. Sons of bitches. No, I thought that Liverpool looked really good in the back.
Yeah,
they looked really good in the back. They were shutting down tons of stuff. Quickly too, like concisely, like not scrambling to make anything work. It was as fluid and as well marked as it could possibly be, especially considering that you're holding Erling Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne, Philip Foden, like you're holding big attacking players very strictly, and they did everything they were supposed to do, and it was great.
Yeah, so every time there's a game like that, there's excitement. I'm talking about the whole 90 minutes were really, really amazing. Jurgen Klopp, head to head with Pep Guardiola, I think 30 times across all competition, and Jurgen Klopp won 12 of those 30 times, and the rest, Pep Guardiola won those.
Yeah.
And man, Diaz's performance was good, but one thing that it's like, overall, he played very well, but this guy can score, because actually Liverpool should have won that game. He had at least 2 good chances. I mean, he had a lot, but he had 2 good chances where if he had just been precise enough, they would have won it.
That's always been his weakness, though, and I think everybody knows that. He is incredibly quick. He's really good dribbling on the ball, but he'll send a lot of things wide. He doesn't have great vision for that final pass in for a goal either, but moving the ball up and down the wings, he's very good with that.
Yeah, I'm talking about, he made Kyle Walker needing a hip replacement. That was amazing. And another thing I want to talk about, what about Van Dijk performance? Haaland, Van Dijk. I think that duel is 50-50. 50-50 in the sense where Haaland got one shot of that. But I'm starting to think that if Van Dijk is playing or was playing as Van Dijk pre-injury, Haaland wouldn't have done anything.
I agree with that. Yeah. And I think that he's had a really good return to good form.
Good form, yeah.
But he is still not back to where he was, but he's much better than he was after the immediate return from the injury, because he was very shaky at the very beginning of that.
Yeah.
And for long enough and consistently enough that people were asking, is that it?
Yeah.
For him, and for a while it looked like the answer was yes, because he really was just not getting to full capacity. At times it looked like he was barely even playing 50%, but he really showed up against City, and despite not being at the same level that he was in like 2018 or 2019, he shut down Erling Haaland pretty solidly, pretty consistently, and I think that it really is showing the weaknesses, or I guess like the one-dimensional aspect of Erling Haaland's style of play. Not to say that he's not a good striker, not to say that he doesn't have good finishing for the modes in which he likes to work, which is immediately getting in behind somebody and having just a full run one-on-one with the keeper. He's really lethal there. But as soon as he has to put his back to goal, use some sort of skill on the ball to create more space for himself or others, he really can't hang at the highest level doing those particular things.
No. Also, I mean, if you dominate City in possession, I think Liverpool had, I think they had higher than 50% in possession, and City had less than 50%.
Yeah, and it was 53-47 by the end.
Yeah, so 19 goals attempt by Liverpool. That just shows how many times they were, they were up there, and 19 against 10. They had 12 open play against 8. 4 set pieces against 1, 2 counter attack against 1. I mean, it just shows how much Liverpool was attacking. Like, you know, I think they should have taken this, but there was still a controversy, right? There's always that VAR. It seems like now it's becoming more of a pattern. Every single weekend, something is happening
in England. Like it happens elsewhere, but the richest league in the world, the highest grossing, the most eyes on it, every damn week they've got something going on.
It's simple to fix it, but it's weird
to fix it. No, I'm with you on that.
You understand? I don't know what's happening because the tools actually work. People that are in charge of the tools, they are the ones that should be blamed. The tools work.
I know.
If you go there and when the freaking machine traces the line, you can see who is out. But guess who is taking the final decision? It's still a human being. So these guys, we must start investigating these guys. They might be getting paid.
They might be getting paid, And I'll say one more thing as well. 6 offsides for Liverpool. I think 4 of them were Darwin Núñez. And it's not to say, I mean, like, look, when you play on someone's shoulder so closely, I mean, you're supposed to, as a good forward. And yes, it's going to lead to you being offside more than a lot of people, right? And he's not the slowest person in the world. I'm saying this to say he was in a lot of those positions in offside. I don't know if he needed to play that close to the shoulder to get into that space. I think that he might feel a lack of confidence in his pace. And again, he's not a speed demon. He's not Diaz, right? But I think, I mean, he's simply riding the shoulder a little too close, and he doesn't have that natural instinct of when to stay on. And when to pull back, and I think that he could have been on for some more chances without those being ruled offside. So I think that, like I said, even though it's his job to be the closest to the offside position, obviously, that's really got to go over more in training of just knowing where your feet are in relation to the defender and really timing those runs better. Because it reminds me of Timo Werner from last year at Chelsea. Just perpetually offside. And it's like, look, and again, like I know, like that's your style of play, but it's even more so in Werner's case. He's so fast. So it's like, why are you riding so close? Like you have an extra 2 steps in this guy already. So just be one extra step behind and ensure that you're onside for the run that you're about to make. I don't know. That's frustrating.
Arsenal, Brentford. What did you think? Honestly, I thought Arsenal would be giving them at least 4, just because of recent event that has been happening with Arsenal. The average that you get, just the past matches with Arsenal, they have been whooping these guys left and right. And honestly, Brentford had it easy. But Brentford they put up a good fight. They played very well.
They did play very well.
One thing I kind of liked about Arsenal, Arteta and everybody, it looked like they were not panicking in a sense, because it looked like they knew they would still win the game. You know?
It was like they were flatter than they usually are. But you are right, as opposed to what could have even happened last year, where they could have gotten worked up and more emotional and forcing plays. They did stay calmer and more stable, and it worked. It worked out in the end. But overall, it's one of those. It's like you should have been up more than 1-1 all. You should have been if you played better. So it's like I admire the staying calm, but ultimately, like you don't have to give all of your energy in those final minutes. But could you have given a little bit more energy throughout the entire match? And maybe we don't need the goal in the 86th minute to come out on top. That is to say, again, Brentford did play pretty well, and that goal conceded again for Arsenal was a very, very, very big mistake from Ramsdale. So it's like, in that moment especially, that's when you can't get worked up and get emotional over a big mistake like that.
Yeah.
If it's a goal that's conceded because they pulled through your defense, they did something spectacular in terms of manipulating the passing channels, you just look at it and you go, fuck it, that is what it is. But it would be very easy to get up in arms and get worked up and frustrated over a crazy goal like that, because they were playing well despite not playing perfectly like they've been playing for weeks now.
Yeah.
That goal conceded by Ramsdale was an unforgivable one, and I saw people online, and let me just say this really fast, trying to say that like, oh, he made up for it with those two spectacular saves later in the game.
He did though.
I don't consider that making up for it, because you don't make up for such a massive mistake. I think what I consider those saves making up for would be if it was a goal that was he concedes a goal that's a tough save. It's like, fuck it, like you tried, you weren't there in time, but like, to me, there's no making up for that mistake that he made. They're completely different things. Two world-class saves and the biggest amateur mistake, they don't cover up. But conceding a goal, maybe you got some fingertips to it, but it wasn't enough. I get that. Those two saves make up for that. That's almost a 1-for-1. But you can't compare such an amateur mistake and two great saves. To me, that's not making up for it. That's like, you're supposed to make those great saves. You're not supposed to concede that crazy-ass goal. You're allowed to concede goals as a keeper. No one's saying that you should have a clean sheet every match. But the way that he conceded that goal, there's no amount of saves that make up for that mistake.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
I see what you're saying. I agree probably to an extent. Ramsdale, it's weird because watching him, nowadays, I was a little sad because he considered that goal, in essence, kind of putting a little bit his credibility in question as a goalkeeper, and kind of giving some reasons as to why Arteta is benching him. Yeah. And it felt like this guy was trying to prove himself, although he's used to last year he was the top keeper. Yep. It felt like he was still auditioning.
He was one of the best in the Premier League last year, all season long. And
the one thing I like is because after conceding that goal, he kept his composure. He could have panicked, like Karius, when he got that goal, panicked and everything, and people started pouring in. But those two saves after shows that, I am still a top keeper, so I can concede this goal, and I can keep my composure, still have my head in the game, and still have a good game, instead of panicking and letting goals go to, or letting that get to me. So that's what I kind of got from it.
And I see that, but like, the way that he conceded that goal is so annoying and so frustrating, because look, those two world-class saves that he had, those big Hollywood saves, that's what he did all season last year.
Yeah.
And that's what he's known for. He's known for those diving, because he's a long, lanky kind of guy. He's known for those. They brought in David Raya simply because he is a distributor of the ball, and he's good with the ball at his feet.
Yeah.
And Ramsdale sitting there acting like he wasn't replaced by someone that has the ball at his feet. Why does he put the ball at his own feet? If you're replaced by a guy that does that better than you, don't fucking do that.
Well, you also want to prove that you can start doing those. So you
there's
get
no
back
point,
your position.
because I'm telling you, like, there is no proving that you can do that. If the guy that starts over you is brought in specifically to do that thing, like being a world-class sushi chef that doesn't make good cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
So the guy that's making cheeseburgers in the shop next to you is selling out. You go, I'm going to go make a better cheeseburger than that guy. No, don't try to make the fucking cheeseburger. Do what you do, which is making good sushi. So like just accept the fact that you're not good at the ball at your feet, and explain why, even though that is your fault, you're still the better option. Don't try to do what you're not the best at and fuck it up for everybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that David Raya is better with the ball at his feet. He always will be. Don't test that. If you don't put yourself in that position, all of a sudden they win 2-0, and you had two amazing Hollywood saves. But the fact that you try to do literally what the guy that replaced you does, to me, that shows lack of confidence in what you do that you do well. If you're immediately trying to go, well, I'll
Yeah.
show them. No, show me by keeping a clean sheet, by not making a dumb fucking mistake like that.
Mm-hmm.
If he had let one of those 2 Hollywood saves in for a goal, that's okay. Those are great opportunities. The Ivan Toney boot from half field, right? If that goes in, yeah, you're slightly out of position, but you laid out for it. No one else was better at trying to stop that chance than you.
Yeah.
That's forgivable. I can forgive that. Or the header where he immediately sprawls out with a fraction of a second and makes the save. If that one slips by him, I get it. I get that. I get that completely. But you doing the thing that you're actively poor at, that you were replaced because of, and you still concede a goal, that shows me that you definitely don't deserve that starting space. That's just me.
Well, this game to kind of prove that, not really prove, but put more lights on why Ben White is really essential to Arsenal. And if you watch the game, the two assists or the 2 crosses came from Ben White. Even when he played the whole game, I think he was man of the match. If he wasn't, it might be Declan Rice, but he played that game very, very well. And I remember at the beginning of the season when Arteta was always playing on Kai Havertz, who were complaining. A lot of people had complained. A lot of people had personal opinions. A lot of people had anger at to why Arteta keep doing this. And some people were like, oh, overrated. They paid too much for him. And now these people have been proven wrong. Equally, me too, because I was one of those.
Yeah.
But
I still think that 70 million was too much, though.
It's weird because now I think that it's not, because if you see the last games, he's clutch now.
Yeah.
He's the guy winning the games for them.
When I say pay too much, I don't mean not get him. And I don't mean by overpay by too much either. I still don't mean that 40.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm still saying the expectation for 70 million is still more than what he's doing. And that's a problem with the market, not the player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not the player's fault. That's the price tag that was put on him. I think if you spent 50 million on him, now we're talking. Like, again, I'm not saying it's too far off, and I'm not saying that he's not worth it in the long run, because it's not my money, and it's no individual's money. It's the club's money. It's the investor's money. Like, I get that. So, like, at the end of the day, there's no the average fan has no real stake or claim in how much money the club spends. They spend what they spend, and that's the end of it. But yeah, I mean, he is definitely in better form now. They're finding out how he makes runs. They're finding out where to put him in certain spaces, and if you look at what he's doing now, and it's not to detract from people that were doubting him in the first place, because I was too. We were for weeks. We were looking at what he was doing. Like, it was not working. It was not a like, oh well, he's close, but they're just still roughing it. It's like no. I literally don't know what his role is, and I don't even think he knows what his role is. And he's playing now in good form. He's not doing what he was expected to do at the beginning. They have changed his role a lot.
I wonder if this is what we thought, but Arteta knew from the beginning that that's what he wants.
No, I don't think
to do. Because if you watch now the game, Kai Havertz his role is not really defined, because the predictability of him doing certain things, it's not obvious. So that I'm thinking that's probably why Arteta just wanted him to gain confidence, so he can play the way he's playing right now, because right now he finds those spaces easily, and the players around him have also adapted to understand the way he plays football, different to whatever expectation or whatever people have seen of him and thinking this is what he was gonna. It's the same thing, right? If you see something, especially playing for these new coaches right now, whatever you see this guy doing at this club is not what the coach actually want him to do. He's thinking, I want him to do specific things for my team, because it's functional. It's for the team. It's not for you. So that's probably what I'm thinking right now, because Kai Havertz now, previous game, clutch as hell. Just comes in and wins the game, or have the last say in the game. So
this is what I think about because you're right. The playing style is still the same thing as what he was doing. He's this sort of shapeless entity that's making certain runs but holding up play for others.
Like amoeba.
He is, but the difference is, in the early weeks of the season, he was doing that in the midfield. So he was not confident making these runs because at a certain point he does have to track back to help defend. And he couldn't really stick his neck out too far because he does have to track back. But now it's as the number 9 with Jorginho in the middle of the park. I think that was the big choice, is that Rice and Jorginho are in that space now. Odegaard was always going to be on the right midfield side. So now Havertz is able to make these runs, cause trouble, and even if it's just confusing, even if the idea is that he's not making these runs to actually receive the ball, he's pulling people out of position, and he's not really having to worry completely about getting back into that midfield slot or accepting the fact that if he moves up into a forward run from the midfield, that spot is still bare. Because it felt like he was being asked to do 9 different things, but not successfully doing any of them in the beginning of the season, whereas now he has 1 or 2 jobs to do, and they don't involve him having to pull out of position. He dictates the position that he's in at all times. The style of play is the same, but he's unencumbered by almost having to cover 2 spaces at once, I think.
I see what you're doing, what you're saying. And Kai Havertz, man, this guy, I think that he's adapting very well. And he has been proving all the people that were against him, Arteta and everyone, wrong.
Okay, really fast. I don't think that he's proving anybody wrong, because everyone that had the doubts, they weren't doubting his skill as a player. They were just doubting what they were seeing. You can't, just because he's playing well now doesn't mean that he was playing well then, and we just weren't seeing it. You're allowed to say he's playing well now, but he was not playing well then.
Well, I think the nuance will come with people doubting Arteta, because at the beginning, a lot are disappointed. A lot were like, why is Havertz in the game? And they were pointing fingers at Arteta. Now they're wrong, because now he's doing what Arteta wanted him to do. Essentially, I think the point was for him to gain confidence.
I think the fact is that Arteta, he wanted him to do the right things, but he was putting him in the wrong position. The fact that Arteta was expecting him to do what he's doing currently from the midfield doesn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense to me then. It doesn't make sense to me now. The fact that he is doing those same things at number 9, that makes more sense to me. I do think that it was legitimately Arteta's fault in terms of positioning. Asking certain players to do certain things is one thing. Asking for them to do those things from positions that don't make sense for what they're being asked is another thing entirely.
Another thing is I think also the fans that were putting heavy emphasis on what he should be doing as to what they saw him doing, and thinking this is what he should be doing. The team were also not understanding what what the coach wants him to do. Because it's another thing on thinking, I saw this guy playing there and he's coming here, I want to see the same thing, but forgetting what the coach wants to see from him too, playing for his system and not the system you were playing. Another the next point will be adjustment. Not every player adjusts the first month coming to a new league, especially coming to the Premier League. The very rare players that do that, coming from another league to just adjust in a heartbeat. So I think that's all those things also have to be taken in account. But I'm just saying the way he's playing right now, for me, looking at when I look at the heat map, I look at spaces he covers, I look at the way he's playing, I don't see the difference for me, especially when people were talking. I don't see actually the difference from what he's doing now than he was doing before. The only thing that has changed is the confidence. He's still doing the same thing. He's still, the spaces that he's finding is still the same he found, but people just didn't know how to play with that. And I think the way I see the game, I feel like Arteta knew it all along. But the confidence for him to actually, take it, go with that, and actually, how will I say, play with intention. He didn't have that.
Do you think that some of that confidence comes from the fact that now he does have an extra player like Jorginho behind him?
It can come
so that he doesn't have to cover his own ass, because that is what changed.
It could come from that, but it comes from the fact that he's actually scoring. It's the same thing with Ramsdale. Ramsdale has a little bit of loss of confidence right now. It's not because he cannot play. It's because he's not been valued. That's two things. Because he could do that if Jorginho is not playing, but it comes from also confidence. Like every time if I'm playing the game, people believe in me. Can I do what I can do? Can I do that? And people, not every single thing is being put on scrutiny. It's like Ronaldo, right? Or these big players. nobody is gonna look at that and say he should have done this. We know he can do this.
Yeah.
There's never gonna be that loss in confidence ever. But playing for a system too is different. So I wonder that. So I think that a lot of those points will be taken into account, because right now I'm seeing a lot of people online. I say, "Oh, I was wrong. He proved me wrong." But a lot of these people, 2 months when Havertz just signed, they were like, "Oh, Havertz should be benched. He should never be left in the field." I remember reading this comment. This one guy said, Havertz should never see the field. Never. He should
extreme.
always be benched.
Yeah.
But now, I wonder what this guy is going to be thinking.
Yeah.
Especially that he has come in clutch about 4 games now.
4 games, yeah.
And so...
It is funny, though, because it's like all of the critiques about him not being a midfielder still stand, though. Because he's found form now that he's not in the goddamn midfield. That's what I'm trying to say as well.
Yeah, well, I don't refuse that, but I'm thinking... Because we're forgetting into something. We're forgetting the system Arteta wants him to. You're seeing what you want to see because you're seeing him play, but you don't see what Arteta wants to see.
I think Arteta wanted him in the midfield.
It's like Pep Guardiola. A lot of people, when they come there, they start understanding, oh, this is actually what I should be playing. Like Jeremy Doku right now, I think Pep wants him to score. Yeah. He's not scoring.
No, he's not.
He's not scoring. Yes, you can create that. I remember when he got the 2 weeks and they interviewed Pep. I mean, this is a proper midfielder. Because what he is doing, Jack Grealish, in terms of being technical, Jack Grealish wasn't doing that. But the difference that Jack Grealish will take upon opportunities that have to be either scored or an assist, which Doku is not doing. We just have to observe and see what happens. I would like to pick on Arteta's brain and just ask him those questions and see what he will say, because the final thing or whatever position or role that he's supposed to do will have to come from Arteta.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's my take on it. I'm just happy for the guy, because now he's bouncing around. He's playing his football. He's happy. So
good for him.
Yeah,
great for him.
He's doing what he's supposed to do, in a sense. Yeah. Hopefully, we see more of him in the future doing those things and scoring. The Arsenal is playing Porto this week, and that was a warm-up game. They didn't overexert. That's probably also why they didn't go crazy, because you have Porto. You don't want to. People like Saka should have played, to be honest, 50% of the game, not every game, because you need all your effective playing in Champions League. Although you don't want to lose because you play in the league, but you don't also want to overdo it, you know.
Do you think that it would be right for Arteta to prioritize the Premier League over Champions League?
I think he will have to find a balance, because usually if you play in the Premier League, I mean, if you play in the Champions League, because at the end of the day, winning the Premier League is a priority for him, but the Champions League is times 2 the Premier League, because that's everybody wants to win it. Yeah. The reason why Arsene Wenger was pushed out this year, he could win the Premier League, but what about the Champions League for all those years, right? So it's one of
those are definitely the most highly coveted trophies in Europe.
Yeah,
by a lot.
Yeah, because there's a reason why everybody wants to go to Madrid. Yeah. You can win your league, but if you don't perform well in the Europa in the Champions League, especially as an individual, the question of am I winning the Ballon d'Or or individual award becomes questionable. You know, because we wait you at the biggest scene. We want to see what you've been doing in your league. We want to see all those crazy bicycle kicks. We want to see, you know, that's why we used to go and watch Real Madrid with the when Ronaldo was there. You know, 17 goals in the season. When he went there, it was like this maniac, this guy, he just had it in him. I think the league has one thing that I like about the Premier League right now. It's really close. All of them are close. Arsenal 64 points, Liverpool 64 points, City 63. Not that far. No. Not that far.
And this is where that goal difference really matters.
Do you think Manchester United have a chance of finishing top 5? It's difficult.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, they've been...
Because they won last weekend too.
Yeah. They lost 2 back-to-back, but they did win this past weekend.
Yeah, and shout out to Kobe Mino. He was the player of the week. Round of applause for that. I like the guy.
Yeah. Top...
top six, top five will
top
be
six.
difficult. But
Yeah.
they're not that far from Tottenham. Tottenham just have 53 points, and they're not that far from.
Do they play each other
Aston Villa.
in the remainder of the season? Tottenham and United?
We'll have to check. I don't think
Let
they
me double
do,
check that nonsense.
They don't.
They
Well, they
don't.
They
No.
don't. They don't. But Tottenham plays City though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Tottenham
think
still have Arsenal to play too. Good grief.
the
I don't think that.
I think top six. I think that United might stay in sixth place.
Tottenham don't have a good. They don't have a good. The rest of the games are not
The
good.
schedule,
Because
yeah.
The schedules are not, the fixtures, because they play City, they play Tottenham, they play
Villa.
Liverpool. Whew.
Yeah, damn. I didn't really notice that. And even though West Ham is not playing their best, that's a direct competitor for those points on the table. So they play them as well. So you got to lump them in there. So yeah, Newcastle, City, Arsenal, West Ham, Aston Villa, and Liverpool. Jeez, yeah, that's that's not good for them.
so-
I never really, I hadn't looked at their
So
fixtures
probably
that closely.
Manchester United might get a chance. You know?
They might sneak in there for that. Yeah.
Yeah, because what do they have? The schedule it's not that crazy actually if you think about it. They have Liverpool left. I don't see no City in there. So I think the biggest game will be Liverpool. They have Chelsea, but they have Chelsea on 4-4. Yeah, but I think Liverpool actually if depending because Tottenham have 3 big games. So if they lose that, if Manchester United can capitalize on these games, they probably can get in there.
They could sneak in there. Yeah.
They can see in there.
We shall see.
Yeah. For Arsenal to win, they just have to make sure all their games, they play their games like it was their last game, like it was the end of the world.
Yep.
Not leaving, not giving anybody chances, nothing, none of that should be happening.
All 3 teams have to be flawless for the remainder of the season.
And I feel like the remainder of the season will be the craziest thing though. All these 3 because they're so close. A draw, a win.
Yeah.
Forget about the win. A draw should not even be accepted because they are in such positions that a draw is
for all 3 teams
yeah.
accepting a draw is effectively conceding the league.
Yeah. Yeah, at this point. And Arsenal, they still have to play City. They still have to play, I think, oh man, the days where United were considered powerhouse is kind of gone. But back in the days, you would say they have to play City, they have to play United, and they have to play. But you can also count these games out because although United is not the United we know, but it's still you go with history sometimes. Repeats itself.
Yep.
So things like that might happen, and they play Tottenham too. On a good day, Tottenham can have one on you.
Yeah, for sure.
So they should just keep their composure and not try to do what they did last league. But going to Bundesliga, like I said, Bayern Munich has been slowly making a statement. The statement is, I'm still the giant. I'm still the guy.
Yeah.
It's crazy because if you lose 1 year, I mean, teams become so big that losing is not even an option anymore. Yeah. If you lose 1 year when you won 11 years straight, man.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think there should be such a big deal about it because it's not that it's not like they've been relegated.
Yeah.
It's just this is top 2. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's that way a lot of the times. I mean, there were decades for the Lakers.
Yeah.
Where if they weren't in the finals or didn't win the finals, they're like, what happened? Alabama, the Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
If they're not in the championship game, it's like, bad season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens, and so
people become so accustomed to winning that.
Yeah.
And a loss is not an option.
Where
anymore.
mediocrity is second place. You're like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
And if the thing about it, it's not even crazy. It's not like these guys have been relegated. They're still the second.
Yeah.
They're still gonna play everything next year.
You're still guaranteed Champions League football for next season. You're currently playing in Champions League as well. Yeah. It's like, take it easy. Let Bayer Leverkusen have something for once. Like, I'll tell you what, man. Being in Leverkusen, if they win that title, man. Like, could you imagine just like being in the parade? Good God! Like you think that Napoli?
And they never won a title.
Yeah, you think that
league.
Napoli had a great parade last year? No, man, Leverkusen's gonna go nuts.
They're gonna party.
Absolutely
They're
nuts.
gonna party till they die.
But there's no point in really dissecting the actual goals. But 8-1 is like, and again, you don't want to take too much away from it. But 17th place in the Bundesliga is Mainz or Mainz or however you want to say it. So again, you don't want to dismiss 8-1. You really don't, because it's still 8 freaking goals. Yeah. But 3-0 against Lazio during the week, and then 8-1 here. Very good run of form so far. So if they can sort of hold up and stay in this form,
I think,
who knows what could happen.
I think I forgot how many games Leverkusen have to win to call it off, so they win the title no matter what.
They're 10 points. They're 10 points behind Leverkusen right now.
Yeah,
and they both have equal games played.
Yeah, I mean, like Leverkusen, I think they have to win, 6 games.
Yeah.
If they win 6 games, it's
mathematically
over.
done.
Yeah, it's mathematically. Yeah.
Watch this be the most Bayern Munich thing ever, where they lose the Bundesliga title for the first time in 11 years, but they win the Champions League.
Man, that would be
like
crazy.
There's no like you.
Because now I have top 3. I have 3 teams for the Champions League right now, and it could be any one of them because their form is not as how will I say, as overwhelming, as overpowered. Like the everything is there, but it's not overpowered. Like City, Madrid, and Bayern. Those are the 3 that I still see.
Inter, man, I'm telling you.
Inter's coming, but
people said that last year, and they got to the final.
Yeah, but Inter,
they remind me of that from last year.
It's weird because I like underdogs.
Yeah,
but
I was saying I don't think that they're underdogs. For some reason, they're just not getting the same attention.
No, I'm not saying that about our attention, but in a die situation in Champions League, I would take my chances. Against Inter. I would always vote for Real.
I would too.
Because there's a thing.
Yeah.
There's a thing. Things like that, especially when in the flight of fight against teams that are always used to perform on the biggest stage never crack. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because now you have these teams that are really good, they're doing very well, but the little things and the details, they cannot adjust it.
Yeah.
Now you have. That's why City won last year, not because they were the best, because Arsenal failed to do the little things at the end of the season.
Yeah.
That's why a big club is a big club.
Yeah.
You know?
Inter and Madrid would be interesting to see in the semifinals.
You know what's crazy? Inter used to be my team too in 2010.
What would you do? Would you do the thing where you buy 2 jerseys and cut them in half and sew them together? That'd be fun. I'd help you with that project.
Inter of Mourinho, man, that was an Inter. Now the coach. I mean, Inzaghi is doing very well right now with Inter.
Yeah, definitely.
He's doing so. It could be a great story because they're winning the league.
Yeah,
definitely. And the way they're playing right now,
they do have an underrated squad, man.
Yeah, but
Çalhanoğlu, Barea,
but that
Bastoni,
squad, I'm
Thuram.
scared probably somebody's pissing it about next year because they're doing really good. The center forwards, the way they're playing, and they maximize on quick chances when they're on transition.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. And I just wanted to point out something about Hurricane. Man, I'm so sorry for this guy because I think he spent too much time in Tottenham. I'm telling you,
it's rubbing off on him.
3 years, 3 years ago, I was saying, Hurricane, leave, go somewhere that you will get titles. You in your legacy, you will increase your legacy in terms of individual accolade because you're playing so great.
Yeah,
you keep staying. The problem with people that were molded by Tottenham, they keep holding to this idea that they will be Cinderella. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Tottenham just don't win trophies like that. They just curse. And he carried that curse over.
There's people listening to this podcast right now that are just like, you motherfucker. Like, they don't want to hear this right now.
But one good thing he's doing, he tied a record for most goals in Bundesliga's debut season. 30 goals at this stage. This guy he's gonna go crazy. Man, he probably can reach 50 goals in a season or 60. First player to ever score 4 hat-tricks in their Bundesliga debut season.
Wow.
That is him. He has reached 35 goals in all competitions in a season for the 3rd time in his career. I didn't even know that was third time. Wow, that's crazy. this guy's he's basically killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, that was it for those you guys. For those of you who didn't watch the games, man. The matches. We had really good. I had fun watching.
Yeah, it was a good match week for the Champions League, and then these make or break matchups for the Premier League are like we kind of can't not talk about, regardless of who they're playing. We kind of can't skip over Liverpool, City, or Arsenal's matchups, whether we talk about them in depth or not. But we're gonna have to do. Every single match is a must watch now. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, they're tied for points.
Especially at this time. Oh man,
yeah,
we will experience football. A display of football to the highest level because we will see
because that's what it's going to take.
Yeah,
there's no option.
I'm talking about tactically, technically, chess games by the managers. I'm talking about how to beat teams, even if they're playing Brighton, even if they're playing Sheffield United. Because at this point, no one can afford to concede, to draw, or any of that. And for those of you guys watching Bundesliga, man, that would be exciting for Leverkusen to win it once. But I'll be a little bit sad because I feel like Dortmund in the good days of Dortmund could have won a lot of titles. But at that time Pep Guardiola was still there. But I don't know, man. I'm happy for Leverkusen in a way.
It's not over yet,
Xabi
but
Alonso is doing great things, man. I would say stay there for another year.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna leave, there's a big speculation now. I don't know where he will be next year.
But also, really fast, at some point in the Europa League, whether it's in the final, whether it's in the quarters, the semis, doesn't matter. The two best teams are clear. That's Liverpool and Leverkusen. The rest of the quality is so far beneath them that they have to match up at some point.
Yeah.
It's kind of guaranteed because they're not losing to anybody else. So whether they meet them along the road to the final or in the final, they're going to have to cross paths, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to agree with that.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a great matchup. And that's where he is most rumored to go. So he's kind of auditioning for the big gig. It's a very poetic season for him. All these things are falling in place. It's like a Hollywood story. It's like a movie.
It's interesting though because you in your second season per se, and you do what you're doing now, and having that, man, that's a big achievement.
It's
just
insane.
Living from because you haven't been manager for so long, but man,
it's working out for you.
Yeah,
you've got all the answers.
Yeah, that's how you create legends. He's already a legend, but his second career it becomes a legend. Let's do this. Danny Motor, whatever his name is.
You motherfucker.
But Danny, definitely, Danny is his name.
Yeah.
He plays for
that is beyond doubt.
He plays for Monza.
Yeah, he does.
And if you didn't watch the goal, go watch it. Round of applause for this guy.
And lucky for you guys because we are such fucking professionals.
Yeah.
That goal is playing on the screen right here.
Right. Oh,
look at
man.
that. Look at it again. Hold on. Let him watch it.
That's a great
Look at it again.
goal. Look at that. How I always wonder, how do you think about doing that in
so
in
much
the
of it is
moment?
just not
Because that's athleticism. It's not something. If you're stiff, I don't think you can do it.
Yeah, well, and
go like that.
It's like we kind of say this whenever there is some sort of sidewinder kick or some sort of bicycle kick. Like, yes, it is you reacting in the moment. It is you being athletic enough to make that happen. But nobody puts themselves in the position for a kick like that. Like you're being irresponsible if you are. You're like, I either rush up and I accept a tap in, or no, I'm going to hang back, boys. I'm going to wait for the bicycle kick. Like, that doesn't happen. Yeah. So for them to be able to react and just be luckily in the moment, there is still don't get me wrong, there's a ton of skill in being able to do it properly, but there's a lot of luck because you just happen to be in the area.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's foolish for you to just hang out in that space in hopes of a bicycle kick. It doesn't work that way. So massive goal for him. And I mean, in a 2-3 shootout like that, fuck, that's a winning goal. That's amazing. It wasn't in some sort of 3-0 slaughter of Juventus versus
Yeah, it's true.
Salaterna. Like you know what I mean? Like this is a mid-table scrap in which your crazy goal is the deciding factor.
Yeah.
Good job, man. I love that goal.
That was a good. It was gonna be either that or because Canabria,
Yeah.
he scored absolutely bang.
Perfect example of what I mean about why great goal, but also Bayern versus a bottom level team, and that goal is in an 8-1 smashing.
Yeah.
Whereas Danny Mota's goal was a game winner against a more even side. To me, that should always take precedent. But amazing goal, amazing back turning little heel flick from Gnabry. Like, what in the world was? It took 3 different replays from different angles to see exactly what he did.
I think because when he realizes he's off track, he's not gonna receive the ball in a natural position. Even if he had to do a bicycle kick, a flick, but it's even the conditions for that to happen was not ideal. So you can see him kind of sticking his leg, but realizing mid-air that it's not gonna work, and somehow he just flicks it on yeah. So that was also a banger. I think even Yamil Yamal, he had a good goal
with that
too.
curl.
Yeah. So.
What about the player of the week? Who do you think was the player of the week in terms of the scope and the scale and the stakes?
I would say this
for so far.
That will be across championships or across leagues.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably gonna have to exclude the Champions League.
Okay.
Because
just domestic leagues, then.
Yeah, domestic league. Because if you have to put that, it's gonna be a little different. Because
sure, definitely.
Yeah, it's gonna be. But then I will probably give it to Ben White because of the
2 assists on the day.
Yeah, of his contribution to the club, the game, or whatnot.
Two big crosses for those assists, and if you really look at the replays again, like it's almost the exact same cross.
Yeah.
He's a machine. Just outside the box, a nice little bit of a curl to it, but Declan Rice and Kai Havertz both get up for almost the exact same header great crosses. He's been playing out of his skin lately over the last 4 or 5 weeks or so. He's very good. You got to think that he has to be a part of the England side for Euros.
Yeah.
He has to be. He absolutely has to be.
You gotta talk to Southgate.
Why? Well,
never know
I don't want to talk to his goofy ass.
It's like when I watch Liverpool, City. Man, Liverpool's
hello.
I don't know. Probably because I said City. She thought it was Siri.
Don't say it again.
However, the phone identifies us.
Hey Siri. Hey Siri.
I don't think they listen to your voice.
Yeah.
It's accustomed to mine. But
sultry voice.
My what's that? His name Mac. What's that number? Mac.
McAllister.
McAllister. He plays so well in that midfield too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gotta think he's gonna be playing for. He's gonna be top position in Argentina.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
it's weird. I really want to say. I think in the Euros it's gonna be a lot of fun because man, there's a lot of good players. But especially England has a golden generation.
Yeah,
I'm
they
talking
do.
about the average age will be probably Can you imagine that England has a really good talent pool right now? It will be even close to difficult making a list of players. I'm talking from 16 years old to 22 years old or 23. There's some good players.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna make some people upset with who he leaves out, regardless. But you kind of can't, especially when Harry Maguire needs replacing, because Ben White is not even really a native right back. He is a center back. Yeah. He played center back everywhere but Arsenal and played well.
Yeah.
So I think if anything, you just get Maguire out of that lineup and get a more mobile, more athletic, taller, skilled. Benny Blanco is what he's called by some people, including me.
Yeah.
Well, that was player of the week.
Yeah.
What else do we got? I think that's almost it. Is that it?
We got our power rankings.
The rankings
all the leagues, guys. Yeah.
Ultimate power.
Yeah.
All right. Did you actually make a list? You didn't make a list.
So this week is 3/11/24. So this will be the power rankings of the whole domestic leagues and clubs playing in these various respective leagues across who is taking it, who is first, who is second, what do you think so far? And to be honest, I think Inter is first. The Italian side, they lead the back. They have an impressive 69 goals scored.
Yeah.
So if you talk in terms of offensively, they are leading. And I think they also conceded even less across all the among all the clubs. I think it should be 13 or something like that. So they will definitely lead in. That will be it for me.
Yeah. All right. You want mine?
Go ahead.
My top 10 here. All right. Here we go. Number 1, Inter Milan.
Yeah.
Number 2,
Give it to them.
Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah.
Number 3,
Give it to them.
Arsenal.
All right.
Number 4, Liverpool. Number 5, Manchester City.
I can get behind that.
Number 6, Real Madrid.
All right.
7, Stuttgart.
Football.
That's what we're that's what we're here for. What spot was it? Oh, number 8, Bayern Munich.
All right.
Number 9, Barcelona. Number 10, Leipzig.
All right.
That is indeed football.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So that's crazy. I'd say number 1 for me is Inter Milan.
Yeah.
69 goals.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's wild. Arsenal 68 goals. I forgot what Arsenal. I think they're holding a record for this year. I think they scored like most goals or something in less games or something like that. I forgot it. I read it.
Their goal difference is pretty outstanding though. If you look at it in the domestic league, 70 goals for them, and only 24 conceded. That's crazy.
I think they also trying to ensure that if it came up to goal difference, they will be winning.
Oh yeah. They're on a plus 46 at the moment. Just insanity. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let me redo that.
Alrighty.
You guys probably missed it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys missed it.
Let me do it.
So, like I said, Inter Milan, Arsenal second. Third will be I will go with Bayern Munich, 65 goals. They might be playing, but they're scoring more than everyone. I'm tempted to go with Liverpool actually.
What in the world is Leverkusen doing then? Anyway, it's your list, not mine.
Yeah, it's mine. You know,
it's yours. It's yours. You can take it.
Fourth, City, fifth. Then I'll put Liverpool. No, City fifth, Madrid sixth, Leverkusen 7.
No man.
8 will be Stuttgart.
Yeah.
9 will be Paris Saint-Germain, and 10 will be Barcelona.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
PSG would be number 11 if we did a top 11.
And people, like you said earlier, Inter Milan is slowly going under the radar. But if you count the most the most effective attack this season so far is actually Inter Milan. If you go statistics wise, because they score more goals than anyone, and they're conceding less goals than anyone. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So,
well, that was it. What a supersized episode this was.
Oh yeah.
Good God.
Hey guys, I encourage everyone to go subscribe to
to this shit.
Yeah, do it. Do it, guys.
Hit him with the gunshot. This is what happens if you don't.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Yeah, we
Listen
shoot
to that.
everywhere.
Yeah.
No target. Everybody's getting it.
Everyone. Friendly fire. I don't give a shit.
Go subscribe, guys.
Should care a little bit about that.
Guys. So,
ooh.
yeah.
What? Yeah.
Yep.
Make it happen. Spotify.
Yeah.
YouTube in it.
I love it. You guys are so great.
Thank you.
I know, and we kill it every time.
You
guys just don't know it yet.
Sticking the landing, motherfucker.
So we got YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify. If you don't want to watch the visuals and you just want to drive and listen, you got Spotify.
I wouldn't want to see me either.
Yeah. So go do it. All right, guys.
Bye, bitches.
See y'all next week.
That works too.